When we're exploring human-centered design through an HR lens, then the intention is to dismantle unnecessary workplace complexity by putting the employee experience first. This helps us to improve productivity by designing solutions that are compelling, enjoyable, and simple. Human-centered design is a powerful way to understand evolving behaviors, preferences, and pain points, so that we can take this understanding and apply it to focus our efforts in the right places and in the right ways. So by unlocking the user's perspective, designers can build experiences and solutions that work well and that focus on experience in the real world. In the human-centered design process, the creators of products, journeys, experiences, and even policies immerse themselves in the lives and the perspectives of real people. They try to understand the needs, motivations, and any roadblocks, and they continually prototype solutions and seek feedback. The idea is to build things that aren't just advanced, but that are also readily acceptable. So when done well, a human-centered approach fuels the creation of products that resonate more deeply with your audience. Ultimately, that will then drive greater engagement and drive greater growth. Now, it's important not to confuse human-centered design with just being user-centered or user-friendly, because they're actually very different. While user-centered design and human-centered design ultimately have the same goal, to focus on the needs of the person who will use the product and to design the best possible experience for them, there's also a difference between the two. Being human-centered is not just about your user, it's about the human involved. Human-centered design focuses on the emotion. It takes into account every single human being that your design decisions impact. Whereas user-centered design tends to focus on splitting an audience into different segments and thinking about how each segment might use the product or the service. This segmentation can often be based on something like age, so you might choose millennials or users in their 30s, geographic location, or even how much they're paying for a particular product. But what we're doing with human-centered design is we're building on those principles of user-centered design, and we're going even further. We're focusing on a user's emotions and their feelings as they interact with a product. And this helps us to bring empathy to the product design process, which is why it's been such a popular design choice for HR, as we're often redesigning experiences for people, such as something like onboarding, and we're factoring in not just the individual and thinking of them as a user, but also their experience as a human and the emotions that they feel as part of that experience. Typically, when people speak about human-centered design processes, there are 6 phases of the design process that they'll talk about. Now, these are phase 1, observation. This focuses on observing the end user, learning and being open to creative possibilities. And the goal in this phase is to understand better the people that you're designing for. Then you move on to phase 2, which is ideation. And ideation focuses on brainstorming ideas based on those observations that you've made in phase 1. And the goal here is to create as many ideas as possible. Then we move into phase 3, rapid prototyping. And in this phase, you'll build simple prototypes of your ideas. And this creates something tangible that you can test with your end users. The purpose of this phase is not to create fancy or perfect solutions, but to ensure that your solution is on target with your user base. So then in phase 4, we look at user feedback. And this phase is focused on getting your prototype into the hands of your users to test and to gain feedback. Without input from your end users, you won't have the necessary information to evolve your designs based on those that are using it or impacted by it. And so then that takes us into phase 5, which is iteration. Once you've collected that feedback from your users, you can use this information to fuel the way that you evolve your design and iterate it. And then in phase 6, it's implementation. Once you've validated the usefulness of your solution, you can get it into the hands of those people that it's been designed for, your end users. And this phase is about implementing your solution. But human-centered design is an iterative process. So you may continuously be iterating and then implementing those changes to make sure that you're improving the experience for your end users.